Yes, guys, I'm currently in an old weed house. Anyway, let's get into it.
On the Rugeley Road in Armitage stands a small red brick chapel with a history spanning more than 2 centuries. The story began in 1811 when the home of Thomas Birch was registered for worship by independent Protestants, the religious movement later known as the Congregationalism. The present chapel was built in 1820 by Thomas Birch of Armitage Lodge. Designed in a Tudor Gothic style, it contains a west gallery, a vestry and a northern aisle. The schoolroom was added later in the 19th century. In 1831, Birch transferred the building to trustees for use as a public place of worship. The surrounding land became a burial ground, although Birch reserved a private family vault beneath the northern part of the chapel. The congregation eventually became part of the newly created United Reformed Church in 1972. The chapel was awarded Grade 2 listed status in August 2000, recognising its special architectural and historic interest. Declining membership later led to its closure, with the final service taking place in March 2002. But the chapel's story didn't end there. In July 2020, police raided the disused building and discovered that its interior had been converted into an industrial-scale cannabis grow. Almost 400 plants were reported inside, together with specialist lighting, ventilation ducts, and electrical equipment. They even had wooden growing frames. A man was arrested and charged with producing a Class B controlled drug. It was a startling new chapter for a building created as a place of worship. However, outside, the graveyard preserves a quieter and much older curiosity. Edward Johns, the Victorian industrialist, whose pottery business eventually became associated with Armitage Shanks. He was a prominent supporter of the chapel, and when his dog Charlie died in 1871, Johns persuaded the chapel authorities to allow the animal to be buried in the churchyard. Charlie received his own gravestone, but it doesn't face the same way as the principal human memorials. While Edward John's stone faces towards the chapel, Charlie's faces the path. There's no documented supernatural explanation for the difference. The surviving local history simply recalls the distinctive orientation. And so this modest chapel holds several layers of Armitage's past. 19th century faith, Victorian industry, and an illicit cannabis factory. And obviously we've also got the grave of a much-loved dog, Charlie.